This is Rising Phoenix Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Rhodes. This podcast is for men struggling with an unwanted divorce. I interview experts on divorce, mental health, and I provide insights gained from my own divorce journey. You are not alone. Join me. Hello and welcome to the show. This is episode 172. This is obviously a solo one. I'm going to cover a few different things, starting with the recent listen locations. The first one on the list, Hoffman Estates, Illinois. You listened to episode 171, which was on attachment styles. I was a big fan of that one, honestly. I recorded that one the day before I released it. It's how much I like that one. Next on the list, Westminster, Colorado. Same episode. Hamden, Connecticut. Same episode. And here's an interesting one. I will probably butcher this. Semarang in Central Java, which I did look up, is in Indonesia. How fucking cool is that? You listened to episode. Man, I can't talk tonight. It's so fucking cold. I'm having trouble talking. It's literally 9 degrees right now here in Pennsylvania. You listened to 169. Own your fucking feelings. I like that one too. So before I get into talking about sort of the main topic, let's address some things that are pretty obvious. There's a new intro and outro to the podcast. This is something that's been in the works for a while in terms of I wanted to do it for a while. I recorded it a few weeks ago and then finally edited it. And if you look on YouTube, there's also the how it looks visually is also a little bit different just in terms of some of the effects and things that I used. Uh, you know, obviously the outro is completely different because the Forged by Fire program it still exists. I'll probably still do episodes on the program itself, but I'm no longer coaching. I just don't have the capacity. As much as I enjoyed it when it was going well, I just don't have the capacity, and it stopped going well when I didn't have the capacity. So it's unfortunate, but it's I'm proud that I had any students, and I think I had some success, but unfortunately, I just don't have the capacity to really devote the the time and energy into coaching folks in a way that would be worthy of them spending the amount of money that I was charging. So um, you'll still hear about the program in terms of I'll probably do episodes. I'll do episodes on the different weeks. I think I've done 4, maybe 5 episodes on the program. I'll do more just because I do think it's a conglomeration of the things that helped me through my journey, and still on a journey. By the way, speaking of, because I have talked about dating more than once on this podcast, my own personal experiences with dating. I'm going to continue to do that and let you know that I'm taking a hiatus. After the events with Dallas. Oh, by the way, I did record a road trip series episode, but I decided not to put it out. Just I don't know why. It felt a little forced. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll probably put it out at some point in the Discord server to those guys. But anyway, after the recent events with Dallas, which I think is that in 169. I'm not sure. Super hot smoking chick that I sort of talked with for a little while ultimately rejected me, and I got a little hurt by that, and yeah, it just kind of sucked. But I'm fine. I'm okay. But I'll say communicating with her was very nice, and it made me want to get back into after it didn't work out. It made me want to get back into dating. So I dove into the apps. I made some matches, and nothing worked out. It was the same frustrating fucking process that it's always been. So I've decided to put that aside again. I've deleted all apps. I wasn't on any of them for the longest time except for Facebook dating, but I've even deleted that profile. Um, I'm going to spend a little bit of time refocusing on me and recommitting to learning more about myself. And in order to do that, I have to try some things, to explore, to put myself out there. And I guess I'll tell this story very, very quickly. I won't give you the full details, but it's so funny. After I decided I matched with some good, seemingly good ones shortly after Dallas, shortly after I sort of logged in or joined the apps or whatever. And it's the same thing it's always been. And I won't get into that, but it just sucked. I hate those fucking apps. And I tell you, I've definitely learned some things that I'll probably talk about in the future in terms of like additional things that I'm looking for after this Dallas experience, after these few matches and conversations. Anyway, I was like, that's it. I'm done. Fuck it. It's a new year. This process is bullshit. I'm gonna refocus on myself, getting out there and doing things and trying things. I'm gonna get into that a little bit, but as soon as I, the universe, man, it's so fucking funny. As soon as I said all these things, I hopped on a flight to California. Actually, it was connecting flight was in Denver, and it was a Southwest flight. I'm sitting there in the aisle seat because I rock aisle seats. That's my thing for a lot of reasons. One, I like to lean out into the aisle because I'm a big fella and I can get some space by leaning out. It sucks if it's on a busy flight and I get fucking smacked into every fucking 30 seconds. That kind of sucks. But anyway, I was sitting there on my phone as I do, and I hear this voice, "Hey, do you mind if I sit there?" Which there was the middle seat. And I looked up and it was this beautiful, tiny, brown-eyed brunette. Totally my type. I've never spent eh, almost zero. I'm sure I've had some interactions with people on flights, but I've rarely talked to people on flights. Just because I just either I'm reading or I'm listening to something, music, or maybe I'm even working. I spent a good 3 hours talking to this woman. Turns out she was with somebody, and that's okay. I mean, that's I did shoot my shot. And of course we ended up 3 hours is a long time to talk, so we ended up talking about the podcast. She took information about the podcast down, and she had said she had been seeing someone for a few months, but that she appreciated the ask. It was a very very polite and nice rejection. It was early on in the conversation, so we didn't even stop talking. The podcast probably came up in hour two of the conversation after she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm seeing someone. It's been about 2 months." Anyway, while she was there's a reason I'm telling you all this. While she was um, taking down the information of the podcast, I also said, "Hey, just in case it doesn't work out with Mister 2 months, why don't you take my phone number?" And she did. Do I expect to hear? Is that shitty? I mean, she wasn't married, so no, I don't think it was shitty. Do I expect to hear from her? No, I do not. It'd be nice. It'd be great. She physically fit the bill. Beautiful, smart, sweet, very nice. I mean, seemingly, you don't know someone from a 3 hour fucking flight. But anyway, why am I bringing this up? One, because the universe is fucking funny, or God, or Buddha, or Tom Cruise, or whoever you put your faith and trust in. It's fucking funny because I don't know if it was that literally the next day when I was like, fuck this, I'm done. But I think I said that. Yeah, I think it was the next day. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not done forever, but I fuck all this. This is bullshit. Dating sucks. It's a waste of fucking time. And then I have this great conversation. Now, I also say this to say that what I had decided to do and what I'm going to do for the next until the end of March, I think, is really just put myself out there in terms of going and doing things. Like I have a pottery class I'm taking on Saturday, this coming Saturday. I'm going to do some archery stuff. I've never done that before. Um, I'm just going to take some classes and go do some shit. and put myself out in the world. Not necessarily, I mean, I'm hopeful that I run into someone or meet someone or whatever, I'm hopeful in some ways, but that's really not why I'm doing it. I just want to get out into the wild, so to speak. I want to have great conversations. Yeah, I didn't get this woman's phone number. I don't think I'll ever hear from her, but I don't care because it was a great interaction with a beautiful female. I want that as much as I can get it. For all the talk of women suck and this and that. Yeah, sometimes they do, but man, a good conversation with a beautiful woman is a very pleasant fucking experience. And so I decided that I was just going to do all this stuff anyway, and then this happened and it reinforced it. Fuck these dating apps. I'm done with them for a little while. I can't write them off forever because they can be a source of meeting people, although really hasn't worked out. So um, I'm going to be busy, I hope, the next 3 months. And this is something that we're doing in a Discord server as a collective. And if you listen to the new outro, you're going to hear sort of an ad for the Discord server. It's a great fucking tool for those of us that are going through this process and are looking to find like-minded people. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're alone, like-minded people exist in that Discord server. If you're looking to heal, if you're not looking for red pill bullshit, if you're not looking for manosphere, all women are terrible nonsense, and you're just looking to be a better man, better father, and if you're not familiar with Discord, I should probably do an episode on exactly what that is, but it's like an old school internet forum with chat rooms that you can start it to like they call them channels and there's a channel on being a dad. I just posted in there last week about a trip I just took with my kids. And people, you can post in that channel and people can comment on your stuff. And then we have other channels that are video channels, and that's where we hold meetings like the book club. And I'm talking a little bit about book club. It's not, we don't, no one, I read a lot of books, but I don't have the time to sit and read by a deadline. Like book club's coming up by Thursday. I got to read that chapter. I'm not doing that. I just can't. I have too much going on. I read when I can, and I read a good bit. I think I'm juggling fucking 3 books right now. So silly. Um, and so we don't, it's not reading a book and discussing it. I have this app called Headway, which is it like boils down books into key points at like 6, 7, 8, 9 key points. It's basically like a review of chapters, and then we listen to that and then we talk about it. So that's what one of the things, one of the ways we use a video channel, and then we also have regular meetings at least one other time a week, Wednesdays and or Fridays, sometimes both. So if you're looking to connect with like-minded men, it's in that Discord server. Yes, it costs. It's $5 a month. Look, I get money is tight and especially when you're going through a divorce. But I am sure, I know that I waste way more than $5 a month on dumb shit. So with that said, if you are in dire straits and need a group of men and can't afford the $5 a month, reach out to me and we can have a conversation. So my hope for 2025 is to what I've kind of always focused on in life is to just get some shit done, to accomplish some goals. But first, the tricky part can be to define those goals because like for I mean certain things like physical shape. Okay, I want to lose 10 pounds. That's an easily measurable. It's not always easy to lose those 10 pounds, but it's easily measured. Something like mental health can be obviously trickier to measure. Something like having a successful podcast can be tricky to measure because if my goal was to be number one on Apple, I'm not anywhere close to that. I'm probably not in the top 1,000. I don't even know. I don't know where I am. I don't look. I don't know that you could look. I don't know. I'll look at I think Listen Notes is one that will sometimes gives you sort of a rating or a score, I guess, to kind of give you an idea where you're at in terms of um all podcasts. And I don't know what mine says. I can't remember. You can look it up. I think Listen Notes, I'm pretty sure listennotes.com, I believe. Anyway, unless we have goals defined, we'll never hit them. And so I started thinking about where am I, what am I trying to achieve? Where am I going? What are my goals for this podcast? I think about this a lot. It's not a father's rights group, although I think fathers deserve rights, but I think fathers largely have them. Yes, there's some fuckery here and there, and people get screwed, and that's shitty, and it shouldn't be that way. But I haven't lived that. I've been very fortunate, I guess, but I also know people who have the same experience that I do. The majority of people that I know have had the same experience, and better, by the way. If you go back to Chris Long, episodes 30, 31, and 33 or 36, he gained custody after she took him to court to try and get more custody. She lost. Not only did she lose her case, she lost custody. So there are too many examples of fathers not getting fucked for me to focus on that. And it more than anything, it's not my experience, and I can't. It'd be like I don't know. I'm trying to think of a scenario, but like I have no business complaining about fathers' rights because I get them. I have my rights in terms of 50%. Do I think it should be 100? I mean, it should have never gotten to this point in my life. I should have never had a divorce, but I should have never had to be separated from my kids. But here we are. I've got my fair share, fair in quotes. It's a fucked up thing, right? It's all fucked up, but I have it as good as you can get it in these circumstances, and many fathers do. So that is not my raison d'etre. I also haven't been screwed by the courts in any other way beyond, again, screwed in quotations, beyond the normal screwing. Child support, um, splitting of assets, it's all to the letter of the law. And back to my interview with Dr. Robert Kleber, no one can ever fucking tell me how to fix it. Do I think the child support system is fair? No, but I don't know what is fair. I don't know. I know that, again, I have been fortunate in this regard. And so that, again, is not my raison d'etre. It's not my cause. It's not my reason. And I don't want to make it that way if it's not true. So then what is my mission? What am I trying to do? And one of those has, from the jump, has been to make sure that men don't unalive themselves, to make sure that they don't pass on the damage, not just to children, but to everyone else in their life. I don't want that to happen. That has been sort of one of my one of my causes, one of the things that I was focusing on, and it still is in a large way. We had a man in the Facebook group who basically posted he was gonna unalive himself. Posted a picture of a bottle that supposedly had, and I supposedly because I don't know what is real and what isn't. It's the fucking internet. But he was gonna drink that bottle and take a permanent vacation. We tried to reach out to that man, and he left the group. We tried to intervene. I tried to intervene, and I know that others did once the alarm was sounded, but he left the group. So that's always going to be on my radar. But I think more than anything, in order to make sure that that unaliving doesn't occur, it's mental health. It's not only bringing you along on my journey of dating, of co-parenting, of living, but to give you the tools that I have gained and still gaining along this way to protect your mental health, to strengthen your mental health. As I said to Galit Romanelli long time ago. Oh, I don't know how long ago it was. I think it was like episode 87. If if mental health challenges are difficult, then why are men not stepping up to the plate to face them head fucking on? Let's figure out how to live a mentally healthy life, how to be able to absorb the shit that is thrown at us and throw it back if needed, but not in a I'm a toddler throwing a tantrum kind of way, but to live a full, rich life where we're not hiding from things, where we're able to deal with things, where we're able to meet life head fucking on and deal with whatever problems come. Because make no mistake about it, divorce, fucking finances, jobs, fucking health. It's there's so many fucking things that can be thrown at us, and they will be, especially as we get older. No one's getting any younger. We're gonna have health issues. Knock on wood. I don't have any ever, and I live forever. Probably not gonna happen, but a boy can dream. Things are gonna happen. I'm gonna lose a job probably again at some point, which sucks, right? I'm not saying that that for sure is going to happen. Is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. And how am I going to manage that? How am I going to deal with that? That's what's most important. That's what I'm going to focus on. So my goal, and I'm still defining this, you're coming along this ride with me, is to make sure that you out there listening get the mental health tools in order to survive any challenge you face and thrive and grow from it. That is my fucking point. That is my fucking purpose. That is my goal. Now, how do I concretely define that? That's a trickier question. I don't know. I think it is potentially, and this is the tricky thing, I think, with social media and listeners and followers and downloads and all that bullshit. But the more people I reach, the more I could potentially be providing the tools that I have gained and learned along this journey. And I also got to figure out how to boil down what exactly have I learned. Because I talk about this, and I've talked about this lately about sitting with your feelings. And what does that mean exactly? It really means just really sitting with it. Man, that really hurts. And I know this sounds, I've said woo woo many times, but it does like, but feel that in your body. Where does that hurt? And what does that do? I think, and I'll keep getting experts to speak to this because I am not an expert. I just know what I experience. I think what it does is it takes our first, I think first and foremost, I think it takes our mind off of what has occurred and focuses on the outcome or the um not backlash, but the consequence of what happened. Right? It's not just she cheated, she left. It's man, this really hurts. Feel it. I feel it right in my body. I feel it in my stomach. I feel it. And so we forget about that for a minute and we really embrace the feeling. And then our brain goes, I think, okay, that's you're hurt. What do we do for that? And then you can sort of start to file that story. And this is back to MC McDonald. File that story in a way that makes your brain go, okay, that occurred. That's this thing here. It goes here. We can, and then we don't ruminate and think about it. We don't know where to file it and where to put it. And so, but when we do, then we don't have to ruminate over it. We understand it. We go, okay, this is this. This is sort of that closure thing. And you're never going to get this from someone else. This closure comes from your own processes, your own thoughts, your own understanding, and going, okay, this is because I talked about that speech, This Is Water, that commencement speech, This Is Water. He talks about how egocentric we all are. And please go listen to that if you haven't. It's just fantastic. And how it's almost, or not almost, it's impossible to convey, for someone to convey to you what's inside their head. They can sort of tell you, but it's not the same as your own experience. So if you can figure out where to put this file, if you can figure out which fucking drawer and cabinet, or maybe you have to build one and you file it and you put it away, wherever it is, then it's done and you can move on. And that's part of feeling it. It just, that's what works for me. Here's something. I think I'm going to wrap up with this, and I think this again shows my growth and the work, and I think I can sort of put this, hopefully put a nice little bow on this. So as you know, I don't know if I talked about um I talked about comforting my ex-wife. I don't know if I talked about this in the podcast. She also came over for Christmas dinner. A bit of a long story, but not that long. I mean, one of the girls needed something from her place. She asked if she could bring it over. She said, "What time? I understand you're making dinner, so I just want to know, like, I don't want to interrupt." And I was like, "You know what? I'm making a roast. So if you want to, I'm going to have plenty. If you want to come for dinner, you can." So she did. So all of that interaction, very pleasant. It really didn't churn up anything in terms of like a deep, like, "Oh my gosh, I miss her. I just wish she would come back. Why is she doing this?" None of that stuff. It did make me wonder. I wonder if she misses me. I wonder if these interactions are affecting her. And so I asked her, "Hey, do you ever miss me?" She said, I miss what we had. Okay. Now that's a rejection. I didn't get angry. I didn't get hurt because I knew where to file that. Another person wasn't choosing me doesn't mean anything is wrong with me. So it didn't hurt me. That's her choice. And by the way, if she said yes, it doesn't, that was not a come on back in type of situation. I can't, I love the girl that I married. I don't know who this woman is. And I can't imagine it working. It was just a curiosity that did come to the surface, but it wasn't in a debilitating way or a harmful way to me. It was a real feeling. I felt that that's mine. That's my feeling. Okay. I wonder. I wonder if she ever misses me. And I have the strength and the courage to ask that question. Because the old me, if I would have asked that question and I would have been told no, I would have probably spiraled and you wouldn't have heard from me for weeks. I don't know. I would have been curled in a ball somewhere. I mean, probably not that bad, but I would have been devastated. But my strength and my courage and my tools throughout this journey that I've gained allowed me to ask that question, get an answer that could potentially be harmful and hurtful, and go, okay, just wondered, and move on. Now, if I did have any sort of feelings about, and that's a rejection, right? If I did have any feelings about that, I would have sat with it. I would have said, "Wow, that really hurts. That really hurts." That's it. No, that really hurts. I can't believe she said that. What's wrong with me? See, it's another one rejecting me. None of that bullshit that we do to ourselves. No, I'm not. I won't do that anymore. I won't. I refuse. I'm not going to treat myself worse than my best friend or my children treat me, or whoever loves me treat me. I won't. I refuse to do it. Now, I'm not saying I never have negative self-talk. It does happen, but I'm quick to be like, fuck that bullshit. And that is the work. And that is what I'm trying to give to all of you. But I definitely have to find better ways, I think, or be more concrete. As I said way back in episode 1, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't think that's necessarily true anymore. But what I am trying to do now, I think, is find more succinct and concrete ways to explain it and to pass it on. Because at the end of the day, I don't want anyone to unalive themselves for sure. But more importantly, I want them to be stronger mentally, to be healthier mentally, to be better men, period. That's all I got for this one. Until next time, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. If you are feeling alone on this journey, please join our Discord server. Becoming a Phoenix is not a solitary act. It is one achieved through community. Our Discord server is just that, a community of men fighting to survive, thrive, and rise from their divorce. Go to risingphoenixpodcast.com/Discord for information on how to join and what is contained in our Discord server. Please join us.